The unexpected. Roommate Ethan Walker had never lived on another planet before. Leaving Earth had been exciting at first, but as the transport ship approached Orion 9, the feeling of excitement slowly mixed with fear. The new human colony was supposed to be safe, peaceful, and full of opportunities. That's what the ads had promised, at least. When he stepped off the shuttle, he saw the world for the first time. A strange sky with 3 moons, tall crystal-like trees glowing faintly in the dark, and creatures flying high above with wings that shimmered like glass. It was beautiful, but it didn't feel safe. Ethan had signed up for a cheap dormitory near the edge of the colony. The housing manager told him he would have to share a room. "Don't worry," the manager said with a smile. "Your roommate is different, but harmless." Those words didn't exactly make Ethan feel better. First meeting the dorm room door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, the lights were dim and the air was cooler than outside. Ethan dropped his small bag on the bed and froze. Someone, or something, was already there. Sitting on the other bed was a tall figure, at least 7 feet, with smooth dark blue skin that shimmered faintly. 2 silver eyes stared at him, unblinking. Its long fingers tapped on a device Ethan didn't recognize. "You must be Karen," Ethan said carefully, forcing a smile. The alien tilted its head slightly. Its voice, when it spoke, was deep and layered, as if several tones were speaking at once. "Correct. And you are Ethan Walker. Human." Ethan nodded, pretending to be calm. He had seen aliens before, but never this close, and never in the same room where he had to sleep. He noticed Karen's clothes, or maybe armor, were dark, fitted, and covered in strange, glowing symbols. On his neck, small fins opened and closed slowly, like he was breathing through them. The first night, Ethan spent the rest of the day unpacking, trying to act normal. Karen didn't talk much. He just sat at his desk, sometimes typing, sometimes staring at a small holographic projection of a map. Ethan couldn't understand the language, but he could feel the tension. By nightfall, the colony lights outside dimmed automatically, simulating night. Ethan lay on his bed trying to sleep. The air was silent, except for a faint humming sound, low, constant, coming from Karen's side of the room. And then, a click. Ethan opened one eye. Karen had locked the door. "Why did you do that?" Ethan asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Karen turned his silver gaze toward him. For a long moment, he didn't answer. Finally, he said, "For your safety and mine." That was not comforting. Strange behavior. Over the next few days, Karen became even stranger. He kept the windows covered at all times. He rarely left the room, and when he did, he came back smelling faintly of something sweet and metallic, like heated copper mixed with flowers. One evening, Ethan returned from work early and found Karen standing in the middle of the room, humming in a deep, vibrating tone. His silver eyes glowed faintly and his hands traced symbols in the air. Ethan froze at the door. Karen stopped immediately and turned. The glowing symbols disappeared like smoke. "Do not enter without sound," Karen said sharply. "Why? What are you doing?" Ethan asked. Karen hesitated. Preparation. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He lay awake staring at the ceiling, thinking about the strange humming, the locked doors, the glowing symbols. Something was happening, something Karen wasn't telling him. The transmission. The next day, while Karen was out, Ethan noticed Karen's device on the desk. He wasn't the snooping type, but curiosity was stronger than fear. The screen displayed strange alien letters shifting like living symbols. A faint robotic voice played in a language he didn't understand, but after a moment, it switched to English translation. "Mating season begins. All hybrids return to secure shelters. Do not leave dormitories. Do not resist the call." Ethan froze. Mating season? Hybrids? Do not resist the call? Suddenly, the door slid open. Karen entered, carrying a small container of glowing liquid. His silver eyes narrowed when he saw Ethan near the desk. "Did you listen?" Karen's voice was calm, but there was something dangerous beneath it. I didn't mean to, Ethan stammered. What's going on? What mating season? Karen didn't answer. Instead, he closed the device with a single touch and said only one thing. Stay inside tonight, if you want to live. The sound outside night fell quickly on Orion 9. The colony lights dimmed as usual, but this time the air outside carried an electric tension. Ethan sat on his bed, wide awake, staring at the window. Karen had covered it completely with a black, metallic sheet. Suddenly, a deep roar echoed in the distance. Then another, and another. Ethan's heart pounded. What is that? He whispered. Stay quiet, Karen said in a low voice. Do not look. Do not move. Then came the scratching. Sharp claws against metal, just outside their window. Ethan held his breath. Another roar. A loud thud. Something heavy moved past the building. And then, silence. Strange behavior. Ethan couldn't sleep that night. Karen sat on the other bed perfectly still, his silver eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Every few minutes Ethan could hear him humming softly, almost like chanting, and the air seemed to vibrate with the sound. Outside, the alien jungle was alive with distant roars and screeches. Somewhere far away, something massive thumped against the colony wall. The sound carried through the silence like a heartbeat. Ethan's heart matched its rhythm. Something was happening on Orion 9, something nobody warned him about. Morning tension. When the artificial sunlight returned the next day, Ethan hoped Karen would act normal. But Karen was worse. He stood at the window, the black metallic cover removed now, staring at the glowing forest outside. His neck fins opened and closed slowly, releasing a faint sweet metallic smell into the room. What's out there? Ethan finally asked, his voice dry. Karen didn't move. Do not ask questions you are not ready to hear. Try me. Karen turned his head slightly, his silver eyes sharp and unblinking. The air is waking them. Ethan frowned. Waking who? Karen didn't answer. Instead, he walked past Ethan and locked the door again, but this time he sealed it with a strange glowing device. Ethan watched in silence, fear twisting in his chest. The forbidden message that afternoon, Ethan decided to skip his colony. Orientation shift. He needed answers. When Karen left the room briefly, Ethan activated Karen's translation device again. The same robotic voice whispered, Warning. Mating season has begun. All hybrids must remain inside. Do not resist instinct. Do not resist the call. Failure to comply will result in termination. Hybrids? Instinct? Termination? Ethan's hands trembled. What was Karen hiding? And what did hybrids mean? Before he could dig deeper, the door hissed open. Karen entered, silent as a shadow, carrying a sealed container filled with glowing blue liquid. Don't touch my device, Karen said without looking at him. Then tell me what's going on, Ethan snapped, anger mixing with fear. Karen paused. His fins twitched. You should leave this colony, he said finally, his voice low and heavy. Before nightfall, before they wake fully. The first roar that night, the jungle was louder. Ethan sat on his bed, knees pulled up, trying not to breathe too loudly. Outside, deep roars shook the air, followed by bone-chilling screeches. Karen paced the room, his long fingers tightening. Around a strange weapon, a silver rod with a faint green glow at its tip. What's out there? Ethan whispered. Hunters, Karen replied without turning. Drawn by scent, drawn by instinct. Instinct for what? Karen stopped pacing. Slowly he turned his glowing gaze toward Ethan. Ethan froze. For you? Karen nodded once. You share a room with a species that is not at the top of the food chain, predators in the dark. Suddenly a thud shook the walls. Dust rained down from the ceiling. Something massive moved outside their building. The sound of claws scraping metal echoed through the hallway. Karen raised a hand, signaling Ethan to stay. Quiet. His fins opened wider, glowing faintly now, and Ethan could smell that strange, sweet metallic scent again. Whatever was outside smelled it too. From beyond the door came a deep, guttural growl, so low it vibrated through Ethan's bones. "What is that?" Ethan mouthed. "A Lyran stalker," Karen whispered. "It hunts during mating season. It hunts competitors." Before Ethan could ask what that meant, the lights flickered and went out. The cold darkness swallowed the room. Outside, something howled, long, sharp, almost human but twisted, but Ethan pressed his back against the wall, heart pounding so hard it hurt. And then, Karen began to change. His silver eyes glowed brighter, his fins extended fully, and his skin shifted, showing faint, luminous patterns beneath. He looked less human, more alien, more predator. "Karen," Ethan whispered, terrified. "What's happening to you?" Karen's breathing grew heavier. "The call," he said softly. "It's inside my blood. I can't fight it for long." Ethan backed toward his bed, his voice shaking. "Fight what?" "The instinct to become what they want me to be." The breaking point, a loud crash, came from the hallway as something massive slammed into the dorm entrance. The colony alarms finally triggered, blaring across the complex. "Alert, Level 3 containment breach. All civilians remain indoors. Engage security lockdown." Ethan ran to the window, but Karen grabbed his wrist, stopping him with inhuman strength. "Do not open that," Karen warned. "If they see you, they'll know you are mine." "Yours?" Ethan shouted. "Quiet," Karen hissed, his voice deeper now, layered with alien tones. "You do not understand what happens during mating season. If they think you belong to me, they will challenge me." Outside, shadows moved fast between the glowing trees. Huge shapes, 8-legged beasts with shimmering hides and rows of glowing eyes. Ethan swallowed hard. "Challenge you? For what?" Karen's silver gaze locked onto his. "For the right to survive." First contact, the metal door exploded inward, and the sound echoed like a gunshot inside the small dorm room. Ethan staggered back, covering his ears as dust and sparks filled the air. Standing in the doorway was another alien. It looked like Karen, but bigger, stronger, and far more dangerous. Its dark blue skin shimmered under the dim lights, and scars ran across its chest like old battle marks. Its silver eyes glowed brighter than Karen's, and its long claws scraped against the steel frame of the doorway, leaving deep grooves. It stared directly at Karen, and then at Ethan. "Mine," the creature growled in a deep, vibrating voice. The rival Karen stepped forward, his fins fully extended, glowing faintly. His body shifted slightly, muscles tightening beneath his armor-like skin. "Leave," Karen said, his voice layered and sharp. "This one is under my protection." The rival alien tilted its head, sniffing the air slowly. Its silver eyes narrowed, and its fins trembled as it released a low, resonant hum. Ethan didn't understand the sound, but Karen's expression hardened instantly. "He claimed you," the rival whispered finally, its voice cold and smooth. "He belongs to me, Zirath," Karen snapped. "Find another." Zirath smiled, or maybe bared its teeth. "The scent marks him. The others will come. You cannot keep him." Ethan's heart thundered in his chest. "Karen, what is he talking about? What scent?" Karen ignored him, stepping between Ethan and Zirath, his silver weapon humming faintly in his hand. Outside, the jungle roared. More alien creatures screamed in the distance. The air was getting thicker, heavier, as if the entire planet was watching. The duel without warning, Zirath lunged. Karen moved faster than Ethan thought possible. The two aliens clashed, their bodies slamming together with a sound like thunder. Karen's weapon sparked green energy, but Zirath blocked it with his claws, sending a shockwave through the room. Ethan dove behind his bed, heart hammering, as the two giants fought, their glowing patterns lighting up the walls. Every move was brutal. Every strike was meant to kill. Karen ducked under a slash, driving his rod into Xyrath's side. Sparks of blue blood sprayed the floor. Xyrath roared, grabbing Karen by the throat and slamming him into the wall hard enough to crack the bow. Still, Ethan grabbed the only thing nearby, Karen's small translation device. He smashed the emergency button. Colony breach detected, security drones inbound, civilians stay inside. But when he looked up, both aliens were gone. The chase through the shattered doorway, Ethan saw flashes of glowing fins moving fast down the hallway. The sound of claws hitting steel echoed, mixed with roars and snarls. Ethan hesitated for half a second before grabbing the blue glowing container Karen had brought earlier. He didn't know why, but something told him it was important. Outside, the alarms blared, lights flickered, shadows moved between walls. As Ethan ran, he caught glimpses of other colonists locking themselves inside their rooms. He heard someone shouting from behind a door, "Close the windows, don't breathe the air." What was happening to the air? He kept running, the awakening. He followed the trail of glowing blood, Karen's, until it led outside the dormitory into the edge of the alien jungle. The ground here glowed faintly beneath his boots, bioluminescent plants pulsing softly, in rhythm, as if alive. The air was thicker now, charged with static energy, and then Ethan saw them. Dozens of creatures moved among the crystal trees, tall, powerful, with fins and glowing skin like Karen and Xyrath, but wilder, feral. Their silver eyes burned like molten metal. They didn't speak. They didn't think. They hunted. Instinct versus control. A sudden roar split the air. Karen stumbled into view, his chest heaving, claws dripping alien blood. He looked more alien, now than ever, his fins wide, his markings bright, his breathing ragged. Xyrath followed, snarling, but when he saw the other feral creatures, he stopped. The predators surrounded them both, and Karen's voice was strained when he spoke. "Stay behind me. Do not move." Ethan obeyed instantly. Xyrath hissed, lowering his body like a predator ready to strike. "You've marked him, Karen. Now he belongs to you, or to the pack." Ethan's voice shook. "Marked me? What are you talking about?" Karen didn't look at him. "My scent," he whispered. "When you entered this room, when you breathed the same air, they can smell you now. You are part of the call." Ethan froze. Part of the what? Karen didn't answer, because the creatures were already moving. The predator's testone of the feral aliens, larger than the rest, stepped forward. Its fins flared wide, its chest markings glowing like fire. It growled, low and deep, and Karen growled back, his voice layered with alien tones. Ethan didn't need a translator to understand. This was a challenge, not for dominance, not for territory, for survival. The creature lunged at Karen with terrifying speed. Karen dodged, slashing upward with his rod, sending blue sparks flying, but the others circled, cutting off every escape path. Ethan backed away slowly until his foot hit something soft, a cocoon. He turned. Inside the translucent shell was a human colonist, alive but unconscious. Ethan stumbled back, his chest tight, as realization hit him. This wasn't just mating season, it was harvest season. The hunt begins. The jungle went silent. Every predator in the clearing turned its glowing silver eyes toward Ethan. Their fins trembled, their chests expanded, and their claws dug deep into the soft glowing soil. The blue container in Ethan's hand pulsed like a beating heart, drawing them closer, calling them. Karen's voice cut through the heavy silence. "Ethan, listen to me, do not run." Ethan's throat went dry, his whole body screamed to run. I can't," he whispered. Karen stepped between Ethan and the pack, his fins flaring wide, markings glowing brighter than ever before. "You want him?" Karen growled, his layered voice deep and sharp. "You'll have to take him through me." The predators roared in unison, and then they charged. Chaos in the jungle. Karen slammed his silver rod into the ground, releasing a shockwave of green energy. The first two predators were thrown back, crashing into crystal trees that shattered like glass. "Move!" Karen shouted. Ethan bolted. The glowing soil crunched beneath his boots as he ran deeper into the jungle, the blue container still clutched in his hands. Behind him, Karen fought like a storm, claws flashing, weapons sparking, alien roars shaking the air. But there were too many. Screeches echoed from every direction. More shapes emerged from the trees, dozens of them drawn by the pulsing glow in Ethan's hand. "Karen, there's more of them!" Ethan yelled, panic rising. Karen landed beside him in a blur of motion, breathing hard, his silver, eyes blazing. "They'll keep coming as long as you hold that container. Give it to me." Ethan handed it over instantly. Karen snapped the device into his weapon, and suddenly the blue glow vanished. But the predators didn't stop. They were already locked onto Ethan's scent. Marked as prey, Karen grabbed Ethan's arm and pulled him hard, sprinting through the alien forest. Branches of crystal-like leaves sliced against Ethan's skin, leaving shallow cuts that glowed faintly under the strange starlight. "Why are they still chasing me?" Ethan gasped. "Because you are marked," Karen growled. "Marked? By what?" "By me." Ethan stumbled, nearly falling. "What do you mean by you?" Karen didn't answer immediately. His jaw clenched, his fins flexing wider with each breath. "My species releases a bonding pheromone during mating season," he finally said. "You've been breathing it since the day we met. Now they think you're claimed, and they want to challenge me for you." Ethan's blood went cold. "So, they're hunting me because they think I'm your—" "Not now," Karen snapped. The Forbidden Zone. The glowing forest suddenly opened into a dark clearing filled with towering spires of black stone. Strange symbols glimmered faintly on their surfaces, pulsing like veins beneath the rock. Karen stopped, pulling Ethan behind one of the spires. He raised a finger to his lips, signaling for silence. The predators emerged slowly from the tree line, sniffing the air, their fins quivering. But they didn't step into the clearing. They wouldn't cross the line. Ethan leaned close, whispering, "Why aren't they coming in?" Karen's voice was low, tense. "Because this place is forbidden. To them. To us. Even to the colony." "Why?" "Because this is where it started." Ethan frowned. "Where what started?" Karen didn't answer. He was staring at the black spires, his silver eyes glowing faintly. "I wasn't supposed to bring you here," Karen murmured. "But you deserve to know the truth." The dark secret of Orion 9 Karen crouched beside one of the spires, tracing the alien, symbols with his clawed fingers. "These are not natural," he said softly. "These were built by the first hybrids." "Hybrids?" Ethan asked. "Like you?" Karen shook his head slowly. "No. Like you." Ethan's breath caught. "Me? I'm human." Karen finally turned to face him, his expression unreadable. "Ethan, why do you think humans were allowed to settle Orion 9? Why was the rent so cheap? Why was I assigned as your roommate?" Ethan's voice cracked when he answered. "Because they wanted us here," Karen nodded. "You are compatible. Your DNA reacts with ours during the mating cycle. The colony isn't just a home. It's a breeding ground." Ethan staggered back, the words hitting him like a punch. "You're lying." "I wish I was." The hunters. Return. A sudden roar split the air. The predators circled the clearing now, pacing, restless, their glowing eyes fixed on Ethan. Karen stepped in front of him, weapon raised, his fins wide and glowing brightly. "We can't stay here," Karen said urgently. "This zone hides us from the pheromone trails, but the longer we stay, the stronger the call gets. Soon I won't be able to control it." Ethan stared at him, terrified. "Control what?" Karen's silver gaze locked onto his. "Me." Before Ethan could respond, something massive moved above them. He looked up, and his stomach dropped. High, in the black spires, cocoons hung like lanterns, glowing faintly. Inside them, shadows shifted. Human shadows. Karen grabbed his arm. "Don't look at them," he said sharply. "If they sense you, they'll wake." But Ethan couldn't. "Look away." Inside one of the cocoons, he saw a familiar face. It was one of the colonists from his transport ship, still alive. The Alpha appears. A deep rumble shook the ground beneath their feet. From the tree line stepped a predator unlike the others, twice as tall, its fins massive, its chest covered in luminous markings. Its silver eyes burned like molten metal, and its roar shattered the silence. Karen's expression hardened instantly. "The Alpha," he whispered. The pack parted to make way for it. The Alpha stepped forward, lowering its head, sniffing the air near Ethan. Its fins flared wide, releasing a pulse of energy that made Ethan's skin crawl. Karen raised his weapon, standing between Ethan and the Alpha. "You can't have him," the Alpha growled, deep and long, and then it spoke. "Scent-bound, hybrid, mine." Ethan froze. He understood the words. No translation needed. Karen tightened his grip on the weapon. "Over my dead body." The Alpha tilted its head. "Agreed." Secrets revealed. The blue container glowed brighter than ever, pulsing like a living heart. The predators froze, their silver eyes locked on Ethan, their fins trembling in unison. Then, as if controlled by one mind, they roared, a deafening sound that shook the air and rattled the black stone spires around them. Ethan's body went cold. His legs felt like stone, his breath shallow. He couldn't move. Karen, still pinned beneath the Alpha's massive claws, gasped for air. His silver eyes burned with pain and rage. "Ethan! Run!" But Ethan couldn't. His gaze was fixed on the glowing container, and something strange happened. His skin tingled, his chest tightened, and the rhythm of his heartbeat began to match the pulsing light. The Alpha noticed. Its silver eyes widened. Its fins flared wide, releasing a wave of energy that knocked Ethan backward into the black spire. The awakening Karen roared, his layered voice filled with fury. His skin markings flared like fire, glowing brighter than the predators. With a sudden burst of strength, he twisted beneath the Alpha's claws, slashing upward with his weapon. The Alpha howled as blue blood splattered across the glowing soil. Karen leapt to his feet, grabbing Ethan by the arm and pulling him behind the nearest stone spire. "What's happening to me?" Ethan gasped, clutching his chest. "The container is not what you think," Karen said quickly, his breath ragged. "Then what is it?" "It's a key," Karen growled, "and now it has chosen you." Ethan shook his head in disbelief. "A key to what?" Karen's gaze locked on the black spires around them. His voice was low, tense. "To them, the true purpose of Orion 9 before." Ethan could ask. The ground beneath them trembled. The symbols on the black spires began to glow, brighter and brighter, until streams of light shot upward into the sky. Ethan shielded his eyes. "What's happening?" Karen's expression darkened. "Orion 9 isn't just a colony world, it's a vault. Long before humans came here, my ancestors built this place to hold something powerful. Something dangerous." Ethan's voice cracked. "Dangerous like those predators?" Karen shook his head slowly. "No. More dangerous than them all. The predators are just guards. Orion 9 was designed to protect what sleeps beneath these spires." Ethan glanced at the glowing container still clipped to Karen's weapon. "And this opens it?" Karen nodded grimly. "The key only activates when bonded with compatible DNA. Human DNA." Ethan's chest tightened as the realization hit him. "That's why they brought us here." "Yes," Karen said softly. "You were chosen, long before you were born." The Alpha's claim. The Alpha's roar shattered the moment. It stepped into the clearing again, towering over them, its massive fins glowing like molten fire. Around it, the other predators closed in, forming a perfect hunting circle. Karen raised his weapon, but his voice trembled now. "We can't fight them all," the Alpha spoke, its deep, guttural voice shaking the ground. "Hybrid, scent-bound, mine." Ethan shook his head furiously. "I don't belong to anyone." Karen stepped forward, weapon sparking with green light. "He belongs to me," Karen growled. The Alpha's silver eyes narrowed. "Then you challenge." Karen froze. His fins trembled slightly, and for the first time Ethan saw fear in his glowing eyes. "Challenge?" Ethan whispered. "A blood duel," Karen said quietly. "To the death. The duel of instincts." The circle of predators widened, giving space. Karen stepped forward, his chest rising and falling rapidly, his weapon spinning in his hands. Across from him, the Alpha lowered its body, claws gleaming, fins wide and pulsing. The air grew heavy, filled with static energy, as if the planet itself was watching. Without warning, the Alpha charged. Karen met the strike head-on, their weapons clashing with a flash of light. The ground cracked beneath their feet. Ethan backed against the spire, heart hammering, every muscle screaming to run. But he couldn't look away. Karen fought like a storm unleashed, dodging, spinning, slashing. But the Alpha was faster, stronger, its strikes relentless. A massive claw slashed across Karen's side, blue blood spraying into the air. He staggered but didn't fall. "Stay down," Ethan yelled. "No," Karen roared back. "If I fall, you fall." The hidden power. Suddenly, the container at Karen's waist flared bright blue. Ethan's vision blurred. His chest burned, and a strange energy surged through his veins. He stumbled forward, collapsing to his knees as the ground beneath him began to glow. Karen's head snapped toward him, eyes wide. "Ethan, the key is syncing with you." "What does that mean?" Ethan gasped. "It means," Karen said, panting heavily, "you're activating something ancient." The black spires rumbled violently. Cracks split the ground. Faint whispers filled the air, like voices speaking from another world. The predators stopped moving, lowering their bodies, as if bowing. Even the Alpha hesitated. The ancient voice, a deep alien voice, echoed from beneath the earth, vibrating through their bones. "Compatible host detected. Vault access unlocked." Ethan's eyes widened. "Vault? What vault?" Before Karen could answer, the ground split open in the center of the clearing. A massive structure rose slowly from beneath the soil, an ancient hive covered in glowing alien runes. Inside, faint blue light pulsed like a heartbeat. Karen stared at it in awe and fear. "This should not be happening," he whispered. The Alpha turned its gaze from Ethan to the rising structure, its silver eyes wide with hunger, and then, in a voice lower and darker than before, it spoke a single word. "Awaken." The escape darkness swallowed Ethan as he fell into the chasm. The air was heavy, thick with alien spores, and the walls around him glimmered faintly with crystal veins that pulsed like veins beneath skin. Karen clung to Ethan with one arm while his fins spread wide, slowing their descent slightly. Far above, predator screeches echoed like distant thunder. But when Ethan dared to look up, he saw them leaping after him, dozens of glowing shapes, plunging into the abyss. "Karen!" Ethan shouted over the rushing wind. "They're following us!" "I know," Karen growled. "Hold on!" With a final surge, Karen slammed his silver rod into the rocky wall. Energy exploded from its tip, slowing them enough to land hard but alive on a narrow ledge deep underground. Ethan rolled onto his back, gasping for breath. The distant roars above were getting louder. We have to move," Ethan panted. Karen nodded. "Before the Alpha finds us." The hidden world beneath, they entered a massive cavern beneath Orion 9. It was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. Colossal alien structures towered into the darkness, carved with strange glowing symbols. Translucent tubes ran along the walls carrying blue liquid that pulsed like blood. The air vibrated faintly as though something enormous slept nearby. What is this place? Ethan whispered. The heart of Orion 9, Karen replied, softly. This is what my people swore to protect. Ethan frowned. Protect it from what? Karen glanced at him, his silver eyes glowing faintly in the dark. From waking up. Before Ethan could respond, the ground trembled beneath them. The ancient intelligence of voice filled the cavern, deep, layered, and not entirely alive. Compatible host confirmed. Genetic synchronization, in progress. Ethan froze. That voice again, the one from the surface. Karen stepped closer to Ethan, scanning the walls with narrowed eyes. It's the Vault AI, he explained. Built by the ancients. It's been waiting for someone like you. Ethan shook his head furiously. I'm just human. Karen's expression hardened. No, Ethan. You're not just human. Ethan's chest tightened. What do you mean? Karen hesitated, then spoke quietly. Your DNA isn't normal. The ancients designed humans for this. The truth about humans. Karen placed a clawed hand on one of the glowing walls. Images flickered to life across the surface. Holograms of Earth, of humans boarding colony ships, of Orion 9's forests and predators. Your species wasn't brought here by chance, Karen said. Earth wasn't your first home, it was your holding cell. Ethan stared at him, stunned. You're saying humans weren't originally from Earth? Karen nodded slowly. No. Humans were created thousands of years ago by the ancients, built to be compatible with our biology. So one day they could unlock this vault. Ethan staggered back, his breath shaking. That's insane. And yet, Karen said softly, here you are, holding the key. The Alpha Returns a roar thundered through the cavern, loud enough to shake dust from the ceiling. The Alpha dropped from above, landing on the cavern floor with a crushing thud. Its fins glowed like fire, and its silver eyes burned with hunger and purpose. Behind it, dozens of predators crawled down the walls, surrounding the cavern. Karen, Ethan whispered, we're trapped. No, Karen said, stepping forward, weapon raised. We're chosen. The Alpha spoke, its deep voice layered and cold. Vault opens now. Then, in a blur, it charged. The fight in the deep. Karen met the Alpha's strike, their weapons clashing in a storm of sparks. The force of the impact shook the ground, and Ethan was thrown against a glowing wall. Karen spun, slashing across the Alpha's chest. Blue blood sprayed, but the Alpha didn't slow. It struck back with claws sharp enough to cut stone, forcing Karen into a defensive retreat. Ethan scrambled for cover as the smaller predators lunged toward him. Karen roared, spinning his rod to emit a wave of green energy, knocking several away. Stay behind me, Karen shouted. I can't, Ethan yelled back. They're everywhere. The call of the key suddenly, the blue container pulsed violently, sending out a shockwave of light. Every predator froze. The Alpha stopped, mid-strike, its silver eyes widening. Slowly, all of them lowered their bodies, bowing. Ethan stared at the container, his heart pounding. Why are they stopping? Karen glanced back at him, his breathing ragged. Because they recognize you now, he said softly. The Vault has accepted you as its chosen host. Ethan shook his head, terrified. I don't want this. Karen's silver gaze locked on his. It doesn't matter what you want. The Vault has already claimed you. The door awakens. The ground beneath them rumbled violently. From the center of the cavern, an enormous circular door began to open. Ancient machinery groaned as layers of stone and steel pulled apart, revealing a massive chamber filled with blinding blue light. Inside, Ethan caught glimpses of floating structures, tubes of glowing liquid, and something huge, a shape curled, in the center of the chamber, asleep. The Vault AI's voice returned, deeper and more urgent now. Genetic trigger confirmed. Host synchronization complete. Awakening sequence initiated. Karen stared into the light, his fins trembling. "We weren't supposed to open this," he whispered. "We were supposed to keep it sealed forever." The horror beneath Ethan stepped closer, drawn by the glow even as terror clawed at his chest. Inside the chamber, the massive shape began to move. Its enormous body unfolded slowly, scales glimmering, fins stretching, eyes glowing brighter than any predator's. It wasn't just alive, it was ancient. Karen's voice shook when he spoke. "The first one." Ethan turned to him. "What is it?" "The one who made us," Karen whispered. "The one who made you." The creature opened its silver eyes, and the Vault AI spoke one final time. "Primary hybrid host, Ethan Walker, acknowledged." The awakening. The roar shook the cavern like a living earthquake. Dust rained from the ceiling, crystal spires cracked, and the black stone beneath Ethan's boots trembled as if the entire planet was alive and angry. The massive creature inside, the vault slowly unfolded its enormous body, its fins shimmering with impossible colors, its scales glowing faintly under the pulsing blue light, its silver eyes opened fully, burning like liquid fire. Ethan couldn't breathe. Every predator in the cavern, including the alpha, dropped low to the ground, fins pressed flat, bodies trembling. Karen, however, didn't bow. He stood, tall, weapon in hand, but Ethan saw his silver eyes widen with something rare for him: fear. The ancient voice filled the cavern, vibrating through the air and into their bones. "Primary hybrid host, Ethan Walker. Synchronization complete." Ethan stumbled back, shaking his head. I'm not your host. I don't want this." The voice ignored him. "Awakening protocol initiated. Genetic command interface unlocked." Suddenly pain exploded in Ethan's skull. His vision blurred and his heartbeat matched the vault's rhythmic pulse. Images flashed in his mind. Alien worlds, collapsing stars, massive fleets of ships fleeing something worse than war. And then he heard another voice, softer, inside his head. "We made you to finish what we could not." The choice Karen grabbed Ethan by the shoulders, shaking him hard. "Fight it, Ethan, do not let it in." I can't," Ethan gasped, clutching his chest. "It's inside me." Karen's fins trembled, his glowing markings dimming as if the vault's energy was draining him. "If you bond with it," Karen said urgently, "you will stop being human. You'll become something else, something older, something dangerous." The alpha lifted its head, silver eyes locking on Ethan. For the first time, its voice was soft, reverent even. "First host, chosen." Karen spun toward the alpha, snarling, "Stay away from him." But the alpha didn't attack. It lowered itself further, almost bowing. Ethan stared, stunned. "Why are they obeying me?" Karen's voice was grim. "Because the vault has claimed you. To them, you are no longer prey. You are their leader. The true enemy." Suddenly, the Vault AI's voice deepened, shifting to a tone filled with urgency. "Warning. External signal detected. Dormant fleet awakening. Orion 9 no longer secure." Karen stiffened instantly. "External signal?" Ethan blinked. "What does that mean?" Karen turned toward him, his fins trembling slightly. "The ancients built Orion 9 as a prison. The thing inside this vault, the first one, was locked away for a reason. If the vault opens fully, every surviving hybrid on this planet will answer its call." Ethan's chest tightened. "And then what?" Karen's silver gaze darkened. "Then it will rebuild the ancient swarm, and the galaxy will burn." The bond before Ethan could react, the first one moved. It lowered its massive head until its silver eyes were inches from Ethan's. Its breath was cold and heavy, carrying the faint scent of ozone and burning metal. A strange warmth spread through Ethan's veins as the creature touched him, not physically, but through something deeper. And then a voice filled his mind, ancient and overwhelming. "Child of two worlds, you are the bridge. Accept me, and we will rise together. Refuse, and you will perish with them. Ethan dropped to his knees, gripping his head as waves of alien memories crashed through him. Karen's species, the ancients, the predators, Orion 9 itself. Karen knelt beside him, shaking his shoulders. Listen to me, Ethan. If you merge with it, you'll lose yourself. Ethan gasped, fighting the pressure in his skull. And if I don't? Karen's voice was heavy with dread. Then Orion 9 dies. We die. The Alpha's betrayal. Sudden roar split the tension. The Alpha lunged, but not at Ethan. It attacked Karen. Karen spun, barely blocking the strike with his weapon, sparks flying as claws met energy. What are you doing? Karen shouted. The Alpha's silver eyes blazed. Protecting the host, eliminating the unworthy. Ethan scrambled to his feet. Stop! Stop fighting! But the Alpha ignored him. It slammed Karen into the ground, claws cutting deep into his armor-like skin. Karen roared in pain but struck back, driving his rod into the Alpha's side, releasing a burst of green energy that sent both of them tumbling apart. All around, the smaller predators hissed and shifted nervously, uncertain who to obey, the Alpha or Ethan. The vault awakens. Suddenly, the chamber behind them flared with blinding light. The first one's massive body rose higher, fins glowing so brightly it hurt to look at them. Its roar shook the cavern like thunder, and the predators fell to the ground, trembling in submission. The Vault AI's voice thundered, "Containment breached. Awakening sequence irreversible. Estimated planetary collapse. 37 minutes. Ethan." Turned to Karen, panicked. "Collapse? What does that mean?" Karen wiped blood from his mouth, his silver eyes grim. The vault was never meant to open. The entire planet is a failsafe. If the first one escapes, Orion 9 self-destructs. Ethan's stomach dropped. So we either seal it, or we all die. Karen nodded once. Yes, and only you can close it. The final choice. Ethan stared at the glowing container still, clipped to Karen's weapon. The key, he whispered. If it opened the vault, maybe it can shut it. Karen nodded. But it'll cost you. Using it will burn the bond between you and the first one. You'll never be fully human again. Ethan hesitated, heart pounding. And if I don't use it? Karen glanced at the first one, whose enormous fins now stretched wide, shaking the entire cavern. Then the galaxy dies screaming.